Hey everyone, Trevor Dayley with MagMod. Hey, I am excited. We have not done a How I Shot It in, gosh, months, maybe even a year. And so I'm excited to bring this back. Today, we have Adrienne Comeau joining us. Adrienne, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Trevor?
Super good, super good. Hey, I'm so glad to have you on the show. Adrienne's been an amazing fan of the show. I know you've watched quite a few of these How I Shot It episodes and commenting. And I said, you know what, Adrienne, I would love to bring you on and actually share your incredible work. You're very talented. So I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you so much for doing this. I was running out of episodes, so I needed some more. So thank you for starting.
I love it. I love it. Well, you know what? You kicked me in the butt. You made me get it going again, and I'm excited to bring you on. And then after this, we'll keep it going on a weekly or maybe every 2 weeks or so. But Adrienne, before we get going, before we show off some of your incredible images and talk behind the scenes and show people how you lit them with MagMod, can you tell everyone where you're from and where to find you on the internet and social?
I am from a small town in Nova Scotia, Canada. And on my website is adriennecomeau.com. And my Instagram, there's my website, and my Instagram is adcomeau.
Let me flip over to your Instagram real quick here. Here's your Instagram. I love it. So everyone go give her a follow, go check out more of her work. And then, like I said, we're going to go into the images today. You said Nova Scotia, Canada. Is that right?
Nova Scotia, Canada, a small town in Nova Scotia, Canada. If you know, our capital city is Halifax. I'm about an hour and a half from Halifax.
I imagine Nova Scotia must be like a destination area for.
We do have
Yeah,
we do. A lot of people actually go to the South Shore, and actually up in Cape Breton. Cape Breton, Nova Scotia is beautiful. It's
that's awesome.
gorgeous.
And how long you been shooting weddings for?
I have been shooting weddings since probably, I would say, 2009. A friend, I actually accidentally got into it. A friend of mine asked me if I wanted to be her second shooter for a friend or just actually go with her.
Uh-huh.
And she said, "I'll just let you photograph the groom and the guys getting ready." And she said, and I said, well, I was really nervous. I said, "Absolutely not." And she said, "Just go shoot pictures." She said, "I don't care if I use them or not. Just go and shoot pictures." And I was hooked. I had the bug, and I haven't stopped since.
That's awesome. I love it. I love stories like that. Now I got to ask then before we jump into these images, what turned you on to using Flash, and starting to use that in your work?
Oh, I loved the way that the images would turn out. They were just so different from what everybody else was doing. Everybody's all natural light, natural light, natural light. And I tried that. And it's just, I don't know. I love my images, but they're just not what I wanted them to look like. And then I just happened to fall upon MagMod, just scrolling through YouTube. And I was like, oh, what is this? What is this going? And I was really enjoying like I call them dramatic images
Yeah,
with Flash, and that just I love those dramatic images. But I also found out that I can make images look natural as well. They don't all have to be dramatic. So I can use my MagMod modifiers and my Flash to make images look natural as well, but give that extra little pop that nobody else is doing, and I love it.
I love that. I love that. I'll say, Adrienne, you mentioned the dramatic images. So at a wedding day, I mean, obviously once the reception starts and the dancing starts, and pretty much every
Mhm.
like Flash practically. But before that, I would say 90% of it is kind of whatever light's given us. But then the 10% that I shoot that are with Flash typically are like around sunset or getting ready shots like that. Those are the ones that book me business. Like they're the ones that people look at and go, I want those images. I want those sunset shots. I want those getting ready shots. And it's always those like I like the word you use, kind of the dramatic images, the ones that are different that have booked me the business. And that's why I've always been so grateful for learning Flash when I did, because it's booked me so many weddings, you know.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like my first exposure to the MagMod, um, dramatic images was like through Sean Lara
Mm.
and Neil Redfern and Arno. And I was like, oh my goodness. And you, like even you, I learned your
Oh
clock
yeah.
method
Yeah, yeah.
through. And so instead of going, oh, I'll put my light 45 degrees, I'll put it at 3 and 9, right? So
It's so
I
much
was just,
easier, right?
oh, it's so easy. And then Marley's, I found Marley's Hartman, and I was like, oh, I love her, and just thinking about her, and yeah. So,
That's awesome. I love that you're giving shout outs to all these amazing photographers. That's so true. All of them are incredible. And I learned from every single one. That's what I love about these How I Shot It episodes and these interviews, is because every single time I do this, I learn something. It makes me feel a little bit that imposter syndrome, like, oh man, I am so not good. but, but it's because I learned so many amazing things. So I think with that, that's probably a good segue. Let's learn from you today. Can we jump right into your images?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So I'm going to pull up this screen right here so we can kind of see your images, and then I will zoom in on some shots as we talk about them as well. But tell us about this beautiful shot.
This image was a family session that I did, and it's on one of our shores. And I used the MagMod mag beam on this one, and it was camera left. And I usually put on like a quarter CTO or a half CTO, and this was like the sun. You can see the sun there in the background. The sun was starting to set, so I believe I'm pretty sure I had put like a quarter CTO on the
Okay.
mag beam. Yeah.
So when you're shooting with the mag beam here, you had it basically off camera. Let's go back to that
Mhm.
analogy. Where do you think you had it kind of on the clock? I'm trying to see the
Well,
shadows.
I probably had it at 8 o'clock.
Okay. And you were using it essentially to put light on them to just because it's you have
Mhm.
a really nice balance. It's not so much the crazy dramatic. It almost looks more natural, but lit. We know that had you exposed for the sky here, they would be underexposed. So you put a little bit of flash on them just to kind of make them pop. Is that kind of what you're looking for?
Exactly. That's exactly it, because all my light was pretty much behind them. So to expose for them properly I wouldn't have had the background that I did
Uh-huh.
there. So I just gave a little pop of the mag beam, and that mag beam is a powerful little thing. You don't have to put your flash on too high, and it just gave them that little extra pop that I wanted.
Yeah. I love how you pointed that out too, because you're right. It does kind of amplify the amount of light. And it's not that it makes your flash like more powerful, but what it does is it just takes all the light. It's almost like a hose. And when you put your finger on the edge of and it makes it takes all the same amount of water, but it makes it come out at higher pressure. And it kind of does the same with your light. So I love that. And what's cool about that is then you save some batteries on your flash too, because
Mhm.
you're shooting them at lower powers and stuff. Awesome. Very, very cool image. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I would have never guessed that was with a mag beam, but now that you mention it, that's really cool. Good use of it.
It
Can I,
it was my most favorite modifier used for a lot of sessions. That was one of my first ones that I got, first modifiers, along with the mag sphere, and it was mag sphere, mag beam all the time.
how interesting. Adrian, I think you're the first person to say that because that's the mag beam is one of the harder modifiers to use. I would say it's probably, oh, you got one right there.
Yeah, I love it.
That's,
Love it. It's the
that's
best.
cool.
It's the best.
Hey, before we jump into the next image, I do want to say that the one thing that stands out to me on this shot, and I would have messed this up, and you didn't. You did it perfect. But the one thing that stands out to me is the way that their heads are below that
Mhm.
the hill right there, or like a mountain in the background. I tend to put that mountain right through their neck or their head or whatever, and then I look at it later and I'm like, why did I do that? So I love that you framed it in a way that you didn't cut them off, on their head or their neck or something.
And if I had been thinking a little bit more, I was just so excited to use my mag beam. I would have lit them from behind as well with like maybe the sphere, little tiny pop to highlight them.
That's a great idea, actually. It's amazing.
Mhm.
Sometimes just adding that little bit of rim light, it takes a fantastic image to like an extraordinary image. Just that's something. You know what though is what's fun is looking at the images afterwards and going, man, I wish I would have.
I
always
know.
it's always good to be a little bit critical so we can keep getting better and better, right? So
Yeah.
awesome. What else you got?
Oh, let me get back to my. Can you see that one?
Let's see. Oh yeah, it sounds
Yes.
beautiful. I'm gonna pull it so we can see the whole thing here. Tell us about this.
This one it was at a workshop in Prince Edward Island, Canada. And it was starting to become later in the evening. Our photo workshops were in the evening. So again, this is the mag beam with a full CTO on and two camera left. And so it was probably closer to to 9 o'clock to the subject. And again, just that little tiny pop with the clouds, and there was my dramatic image.
I love it. I love it. Again, the way you have her in that space in the clouds, amazing. I love as well how that light from the mag beam, it looks like, did you have it maybe, I don't know, 8 feet or so? How high was it up?
It was it was very high. I think I had my stand at its maximum and pointed down just a smidge.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
I love that because it actually makes the light look natural as well, as if it was coming from like a sun or something.
Yep.
Adrian, I'm getting totally inspired to use the mag beam more. I haven't used it
Oh,
as much.
yeah. No, use it. It's one of my favorite modifiers because then I don't have to go and Photoshop anything out.
Yeah. Do you find that you have to be very specific on where to like place the light? Like, are you using it with the telescopic lens? Is that right?
Yes.
So,
Yes, I am.
do you have any
And
tips? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
it is a little tricky to use at first, but once you get to know how to use it,
Hmm.
what I do with my my grip,
Uh-huh.
and usually the mag beam, if I'm photographing somebody who is vertical, I'll put my flash vertical
Okay.
rather than horizontal. So
Got
I'll
it.
put it vertical, and I'll even take this part here and push it back a little bit
Yeah.
so it's not so it's pulled back a little bit so then I for me it's easier to aim it properly for some reason rather than having it flush to my flash. Yeah.
Got it. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's one of the tips
So,
that we give wildlife photographers when they put it on their flashes to kind of pull it back a little bit. I love that. Can you
and
show us the side
that,
of it?
that's oops, where am I going?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
What were you gonna
So
say? And
that's
that's
actually where I learned, and that's actually how where I learned how to do it on the MagMod YouTube site and on the site as well. To for the wildlife photographers, if you just push it back a little bit,
yeah.
then it's easier to it doesn't go down. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's funny because sometimes we'll get a chance to kind of review images with people before we even talk about them. And you had sent me some images and I looked through them and all of them were beautiful. And I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. I had no idea that we are going to talk about the mag beam so much. So this is actually really, really fun to hear. Do you have other images with the mag beam as well here? Or are those?
I might further down the list. I'm
Well,
not sure.
well, let's jump right into them because in other words, let's keep going through. I guess I'm just shocked and fascinated, and I love that we're talking about this because like I said, it's something that I don't use as much, and it's as inspiring for me to start using it more. So,
Actually, this image here, the next one coming up, is
uh,
also used with the Magni.
are you serious? Wow,
Serious,
I would have never.
serious.
I
Yeah.
seriously would have never guessed that. Tell us about this one.
This one was we a bunch of photographers. We got together. We were looking for creativity to get inspired. So a bunch of us got together and we went to this beach, and we just shot each other, photographed each other, and it was a blast. We had all kinds of costumes. We brought all kinds of wardrobes
Hmm.
and all our lights, and we just practiced different techniques, different poses, what worked, what didn't work. We did all kinds of things. And this here I used with the MagBeam, it was camera right.
Yeah.
And to me, it was behind me, a little bit more behind me, and probably at like a 4 out of 4
Okay.
o'clock. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. By the way, for those who might be watching this and wondering when we're talking about the clock, and I know you had mentioned it earlier, Adrian, there's a video that I think it's on, well, it's on YouTube, but I think it's the WPPI speech, and I can't remember
Mm-hmm.
I think it's maybe 17 lighting recipes, I think is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But just a
Yep.
quick explanation, essentially it's the 6 o'clock position is kind of the photographer, and then the subject is typically right in the middle. So 12 o'clock would be behind the subject, 3 to the right, 9 to the left. And so when Adrian says 4 o'clock, she just means that that flash is like if she's at 6, it's just a little bit to her right, and then you had mentioned it was a little bit further back. Is that right?
Yeah, a little bit behind me.
I love it. Um, that's amazing. Now this is just another photographer that was showing up and she was shooting as well.
Yep.
How
Yeah,
cool.
we did. And then we said, okay, who's up next? And we all kind of took our turns, and it was fun.
Love it. What if you had to guess when you're shooting with the mag beam, off camera and back a little ways? This almost looks like it wasn't even dark yet. But what would you guess? Like, where do you typically start with your flash settings? Um,
I always start at half power. It's something, maybe it was Pi, Jirsa, that mentioned it at one point, like just start somewhere, or
Mhm.
maybe Neil Redfern. Just I always start at flat at half, and then if I don't have enough, then I put it up. If I have too much, then I just lower it down.
I love that. I had never heard anyone say that specifically, but it's funny because I typically will, when I turn my flashes on, I usually start around 1/16th and I'll put it at 1/16th power and then kind of same thing. I'll just kind of go up or down depending on where I'm at.
Mhm.
It's true though, you kind of have to just start somewhere, right? And I think it's good to stay consistent and always, do the same thing when you get going. So,
That's outside. Inside, I'll usually start like at 1/8
yeah,
power,
yeah.
and then go and just adjust from there.
I think in this situation where you are outside and the sun has not set yet, you kind of do have to start at like 1/2 or one. Otherwise, you're not going to hardly see your light. It's almost like turning a flashlight on when it's sun outside. You're not going to see it. So,
Exactly, exactly. And then you just and actually two-man studios, Eric and Laney.
yeah.
I love when Laney, yeah, I love them. I'm actually a member of their education.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I love the way that Laney says, just like stir the pot, stir the soup, and adjust the soup to taste with your light. So that's what I do.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Adrian, keep going.
Next
I want to keep
one.
learning.
This one here was she's a real estate agent in my area, and we just did some branding sessions for her, business branding sessions for her. And this is the MagBox. It's the 24-inch, and it is camera left, and that one is probably at a 2 o'clock, or
What would
it would be 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock,
okay.
10 o'clock.
Uh,
Yeah.
what would you say? Because it looks like, did you have a second light behind her that was kind of lighting up the background a little bit? It was just the fall off from the softbox.
Yeah, follow
Gotcha.
from the softbox. She is quite close to the background, and I
Uh-huh.
have it feathered as well.
Gotcha. Very cool. And it's just the one light with the MagBox 24.
Just the one light. I actually have it behind the scenes here. There it is.
Ah, look at that. How cool.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I love I love that behind the scenes too, to be able to see exactly, where that box is. And
Hmm.
it almost looks like, was the other image, was it mirrored or rotated? Because it almost looks like, if you go back to it looks
Yeah.
like her turn. So maybe it was kind of the same type of ideal setup, just maybe the box on the other side. I'm just looking at the shadow underneath the chin. Go back to the behind the scenes.
No, the mat box is still on the same side.
Oh, is
It's
it?
still on camera left. Yep. And after I shot this image, I'm like, oh, I need a behind the scenes for MagMod. I need to. So she turned around and I took him behind the scenes because I always forget.
I love that. I love that. We need to get this on our Instagram feed so people can see it. That's amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very cool. Adrian, do you do a lot of real estate type headshots?
I have done a little bit, yes. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get into more of that. I did a session real estate agent for two real estate agents a couple years ago, and actually one of them reached out to me again. He said, "We need to get in some more headshots, some updated." I'm like, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
yeah,
You know what I love about your setup here is it's something that literally you could do anywhere. In fact, was this at their office or was this at like a studio or something?
this was actually at a another client's home. This
Oh,
was in their home, and this
that's
is part
cool.
of her kitchen.
Really? It's
We
interesting because
used the whole we used the whole house. The house is absolutely gorgeous. We used every single corner of that house.
that's awesome. I mean, that wall right there, it looks like a studio backdrop. It looks like one of the cloth backdrops or whatever, the way it's kind of has a little bit of texture to it and stuff.
No,
Love
those are her kitchen cupboards.
that's amazing. Wait, that's
Yeah,
cupboards? Wow.
yeah, those are her kitchen cabinets. Yeah,
That's crazy. Love it.
yeah.
All right. What else you got to share? Oh, this is
This
beautiful.
one
Mhm.
is it was obviously a wedding that I did, and I wanted to do a just want to set up my lights, and so this was a test shot. So I just got the bride to go in front of my lights. You can see the two lights in the background, and all I have on them is one mag grid on each. And I just love the starburst effect that it did on there, and my test shot turned into be one of her favorite images.
That it is beautiful. What would you say? So basically, it was just the two lights behind, right?
Yep.
So I don't know if my mouse shows up on the screen or not when I do this, but I'm just kind of pointing at the two lights. And then you had, in order to get the starburst, do you remember what your aperture was?
I was actually at 5.6.
5.6. Nice.
Because I usually shoot my receptions between 4 or 5.6. I just, yeah, adjust the taste, adjust the soup.
Just the soup. Adrian,
But
what makes you so a lot of photographers that are out there watching, they might be like, well, I always shoot at 1.2 or 2.8 or something like that. What makes you decide to shoot your aperture a little bit more narrow, a little bit more closed for reception type stuff?
for the star beams that I get from from
Yeah.
my grid.
You
Yeah,
know
from my
what?
grid.
That's actually a really good point though, because so typically I will shoot a little bit more close, like 5.6. Sometimes I'll even go like 7.1 or 8, something like that. But it's typically because I'm looking for more kind of depth. I know that there's a lot of action going.
Mm.
I'm not so concerned about kind of the depth of field and things like that. I more want to make sure that I just nail all the dancing and the fun and everything else. I didn't even consider that having the flashes in the background give me that starburst effect. It's so much more appealing than just like this big glow of white light, or
Yeah, that was one of the best mistakes I've ever made. Yeah,
I
but
love that.
with the grid, and I never would have thought that at 5.6, right? But no, it made those little starbursts, and I was like, oh, so that's why I pretty much always shoot at 5.6 for the receptions, and it also helps with my focus as well. I find if I shoot at like 1.2 or 1.4, I
Yeah.
don't get as crisp of a focus, but at 5.6, I'll nail focus every time.
Yeah. I want to test. I would love to test with the flashes, shooting into it, grid, no grid, and then each aperture and see, kind of, because I know the more you close it down, the more that kind of pronounced that star
Mhm.
is. It'd be interesting to see if we could dial in kind of that perfect soup.
Right, the perfect
um,
ingredient.
yeah, yeah, that's really cool. Well, I love this shot. So it's just the two lights then that were behind her, and that's it. Is that right?
Just yeah, just my two little flashes in the back.
It's beautiful. Love it. Well, keep going. If you got more, I want to keep seeing. Oh, I love this. What a cool portrait.
This is my son. He's big into soccer, um, and also motocross, but he's big into soccer. So he wanted to do some soccer action shots with me. And I said, absolutely. Anytime he wants to do some shots with me, I'm like, absolutely. So I have my flash camera right, and it's at 3 o'clock, 90 degrees to me.
Okay.
And all I have on there is just the MagSphere. I just have the
Really?
MagSphere.
Oh,
Yep. And the sun was actually on the other side. So, and I know this was a 1-to-1 power.
okay. So, okay, so you had the sun at 9 o'clock and your mag sphere at 3 o'clock. Is that right?
Yep.
You're kind of cross lighting them from either side. That's
Yep.
why, because the lighting looks very, very like dynamic, almost like studio lit. Like this is the kind of lighting that there's a photographer that I got to shoot with one time. He's a commercial photographer, amazing work. His name is Blair Bunting, and Blair likes to use two flashes on either side a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's this really cool hard edge kind of dynamic sports lighting. He does a lot of the like sports colleges and things like that. And this kind of reminds me of that style. Very, very beautiful work. Love it.
Actually, I made a little mistake. I'm just looking at it again. My light is camera left, and the sun is camera right.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Got
Yeah. I'm just looking at the shadows. I'm like, no, wait a minute. I'm realizing how our deck is made. So the light was camera left at 3 o'clock to him. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Very,
And
very.
we won an award with this through Motion, a Motion award. There was a little competition going on, so we won 8th place out of 10 on this
Nice.
one.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Wait,
he was quite happy about that.
what's the motion word? Tell me about that.
It was Super Ice Education. It was the Portrait Masters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
How
we
cool.
won. We got 8th place in that one from Motion
Very cool.
category Motion.
Have you ever been to the Portrait Masters trade show?
No, I never have, and I wanted to. WPPI, and well, they don't have the Super Ice Education, the Portrait Masters anymore,
Oh,
but
did they stop doing it?
WPPI, yeah, they stopped doing it. But I will make it one day to WPPI. I want to go.
Well, make sure to let me know. I've been going to WPPI for like the last 15, 16 years, but every year. But the thing is, this was the first year that I technically missed.
Mhm.
I say that kind of with like a little apprehension because I did show up. I was actually, my family and I, we scheduled a snowboarding trip. So I took my family, we went snowboarding up in Utah, but I drove through Vegas. I dropped a few things off. And on the way back, as I was driving back through, I stopped in to pick a few things up and said hi to a few people. I wish I could have stayed longer, but my family was all waiting in the car, you know. And anyhow, if you go, let
No,
me know. I'd love to see you there. It's WPPI is amazing. It's really
it is. It looks like so amazing.
yeah.
And the MagMod booth is definitely the first booth that I'll be showing up at in the Nikon booth.
I love, I love it. Nikon does an amazing job. Do I hear a dog back there? I hear like a big dog.
Yes, we have two. We have two dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if they,
So,
oh, you're flying through all those images. Oh, it looks like
yeah.
there's a lot.
I'm
We
just
got to
trying to
jump.
find some here. There we
Yeah.
go. Sorry.
Well, if dog gets close, I love seeing dogs as well. So you tell them to jump in there with you.
One of
Um,
them is laying right next to me here.
yeah. Well, Adrian, tell us about this great shot. Looks like a senior portrait.
It is a senior portrait, and I. This was the first time after getting it that I used the XL,
Nice. I love how
the
you
Mag
have all
3.
your modifiers right there. I love
Oh,
it.
absolutely! They're never very far from me. Yeah. With the XL and the Mag in the XL grid, and that one is actually right next to me, camera right.
Mhm.
So it's at pretty much at 9 o'clock, at 3 o'clock.
Very cool.
Yeah,
And I
and
imagine.
I do have a behind the scenes to this one right there.
Okay. Nice. Nice.
Yeah. And this is where I like to use the modifiers because it's not one of my typical dramatic images. It just adds enough of that little pop to give a little bit of light, and you can still a little bit of drama to the background.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think,
Mm-hmm.
and it's funny how even just a tiny little pop makes the images just really stand out. You know,
It
um,
does. It does. It sure
beautiful
does.
stuff.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for sharing that behind the scenes too. I love that.
absolutely. This was a little creative session that she's a dancer, and I had photographed her before, did her senior session before. So I messaged her up. She's at one of our universities, local universities, Acadia University in Wolfville, Nova Scotia. And I said, hey, I said, do you want to do a little bit of a photo shoot with me? She goes, absolutely. So I made that tool like flying dress, and I just used my flash, just my Godox flash with the MagSphere,
Hmm.
and I believe a grid. I believe I had the grid on this one, and that one is also camera right.
Nice. So now, if you hadn't put any light on her, would she have been lit up at all, or was it pretty dark and like,
It was pretty dark, so for me to have her exposed properly,
yeah?
the background would have been completely blown out, and you wouldn't have seen the light that's on top of her. And yeah, yeah.
That,
So
that's such a great point. And then it also, I think it would have almost been distracting, not only because the background would have been completely white and kind of blown out, but it probably would have brought in all, it looks like maybe kind of a roof for the room there, which kind of would have
yep,
been distracting a little bit. So,
we were like in a big archway that they have
yeah.
on campus, and of course the sun is right behind her, and we were shooting this pretty much at high noon almost. So it just made the beautiful like a tunnel. Made the sun made a tunnel, a little pop of light in front of her, and made her pop.
You know what else stands out to me with this photo, Adrian, is that if by underexposing it the way you did, you got these really cool, sharp shadows on the ground that,
Mhm.
like you said, that kind of tunnel of light from the sun. Again, had you not underexposed it, you know, and used a flash to put light on her, then you wouldn't have seen that so dramatically. It would have been kind of, you would have saw a light from a shadow, but it would have, you know, you would have seen the exposed everywhere. So I that's one thing that really stands out that I love about this beautiful image.
Thank you. This is an engagement session. They're actually getting married this summer. There are two coworkers of mine, colleagues of mine, and we went to a beautiful little national park. It's called Kejimkujik National Park here in Nova Scotia. And I told them to jump onto that rock in the river. And again, I use my Mag Sphere XL,
Hmm.
and that one is camera left. And it's probably at 10, 11 o'clock, and just gave them a little bit of a pop of light.
Nice. It again, I'm just amazed at how you're just using a little bit of flash and blending it. You're
Mhm.
not you have some shots that are kind of that more dramatic. That's the word we used earlier. But then you also have these other shots that are just very, I'm just adding a little touch of light. It would be interesting to see without the flash and how kind of more flat, they're
I did do like a natural light shot,
uh,
and I should have included it. I forgot. I
no,
forgot
no,
to
that's
include it.
okay.
I should have included it, but totally different. The background is it's not blown out, but it's very, very bright, too bright for what I liked. So I said, "Hey
Yeah.
guys, I've got an idea. Stay there for a second."
Yeah. Let me throw a little flash on you. That's really cool.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
and I think it's fun, even as photographers, I think one of the best exercises we can do is try to imagine those things. Like, okay, if I had done this differently, if I had changed my settings, if I didn't use a flash, how would it have looked in order to get them properly exposed? And that I've used the word pre-visualization a lot. That visualizing or pre-visualizing things on how they would look, with or without flash, or with or without settings, or different lenses or whatever, is such a good exercise for photographers to be able to just like
Mhm.
kind of use our minds to essentially think creatively or think outside, kind of what we're doing.
And it's such a gorgeous national park, and I just wanted to highlight some of it.
Yeah.
How
What's the name of
gorgeous
that
it is.
river behind them? Do you know?
I honestly don't know.
I
I, I honestly don't know. We were,
I
yeah,
don't
I'm
know the
not
name.
sure. But it's in Kejimkujik National Park.
Kid, say that one more time.
Kejimkujik,
Kejimkujik. Wow.
Kejimkujik National Park. Keji for short.
Keji National Park. I
Yep,
love
yep,
it. Cool,
yep.
cool. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. Just let me bring up my other ones.
Ooh, that's a
This
cool.
was another engagement session. This was done at their cottage. And we actually, I had packed up the car. The car was all packed up. We were saying our byes. And I just happened to look towards the lake, and I'm like, oh, you guys, I have one more. And any of my clients know that there's always going to be one more and one more and one more. And as we're walking back to the cars, it's like, oh my goodness, I got an idea. Stop there. So I got them to go onto the dwarf, and I have my mag sphere, just my regular mag sphere, and a grid
Hmm.
on it. No, I didn't have a grid on this one, just the mag sphere to camera left, and probably at between 9 and 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And yeah, I do have a behind the scenes of this one.
Oh,
So yeah,
nice.
I did not have a grid on that one, just the mag sphere.
It's funny because again, thinking back to that whole visualization thing, if I had seen this, I would have thought, my guess would have been that the flash was actually higher, but it looks like it's only about what, 8 feet or so.
I'm actually there's a hill right
Uh,
there, so it looks lower than what it actually really is. But it
Got,
was quite low. It was quite low, because if I would have put it in up any higher, it would have landed in the lake.
gotcha. That's beautiful. I love how you just like quickly were like, "Hey, wait, wait, wait."
Oh yeah.
This,
So down the hill we go to the lake, and
yeah,
yeah,
very pretty, beautiful shot. Love that. Did you,
thank
real
you.
quick? Did you have to Photoshop that out then?
I
Did that?
did. I
Okay,
did. I photoshopped that out, and hindsight is like I should have used my beam, because I'm horrible at photoshopping stuff out. So, but I did have to Photoshop it out. I photoshopped out a couple of the rocks and stuff like that,
mhm.
and those two little posts on the wharf as
Yeah.
well.
Have you been using the new AI kind of spot removal in Lightroom? I think
Life
it's,
changer.
I know
Life
it's
changer.
so helpful
Life
compared to,
changer and life.
yeah, when you had to before take the photos into Photoshop and then do your tweaking
Mhm.
stuff there, and now it's like just, oh man. And
Yes.
sometimes I look back and I go, man, photographers these days, if you're getting started, you guys have it easy compared to what us old timers had to do back in the days.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, this one.
Oh, this is cool.
This was actually inspired by Jesse Rinka. I
Uh,
was trying to do something for a Christmas photo of us, and I just love the way that he did his Brady Bunch video, and it's on the MagMod YouTube channel. And if
yeah.
you look up Jesse Rinka, and anyways, so I was like, this is what I'm going to do. So each day before Christmas, 4 days before Christmas, I did a bolo. So be on the lookout for, and I did individual images of all of us. So I first did my son,
Hmm.
and I used the mag beam with the mad mass, And so I got everybody to pick out their favorite Mad mask, like pick one out and pick out a color, one of your favorite colors. And we did that.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
really
So
cool.
this is my son. This is our one of our dogs. We have since have added another dog to our family, but this is Gunner.
Gunner, what a cool looking dog.
He is. He's full of, and this is me. Just and it was cute little write ups that I did as well. And this is my husband. I actually got him. I tackled him post night shift when he came in the door. I'm like, "Hey, sit in front here." He's like, "What?"
That's awesome though. What a cool and fun and creative way to, I love how this is a great example of showing how the mag beam, the creative side of the mag beam using all the different lenses. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was so much fun.
I love that. Very cool. I would love to share
Yeah.
that with everybody, even on social as well. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was fun. So this year, I'm gonna have to do something to include our other dog, Sammy. He's the same breed as Gunner, basically the same breed as Gunner. So I'm gonna have to do something this year with Sammy involved.
And what kind of breed is that?
They're Dutch Drathars, German Wirehair dog.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
first time I've heard of that kind of dog.
No, they're pointers. They're pointers. They're
Okay.
hunting dogs. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, cool. Very cool.
No, but that was fun. I had a lot of fun with that.
That is really cool. I'm glad you shared that. I love seeing that. Now, real quick, you said the mag beam behind. Did you say what light you're using in front as well?
Oh, no, that was I did not have the MagBox at that time, so that was just one of my soft boxes.
Softboxes.
It was a Westcott.
Do you know roughly how big it was? Was it like 24, 36,
24.
24? Okay,
24.
a 24-inch softbox in front that was lighting them. And it looks like it was just a little overhead pointing down, probably. And
Yeah,
that
yeah, just
butterfly
up
light.
a little bit
Yeah.
and a little bit angled down. Yeah,
And then the mag beam.
and just my flash,
Yeah.
just my flash with the Mad Mask and whatever color I have the Mag
All the color.
gels.
Love it.
Oh, these are great. These are great. Yeah, they are so fast. I have some of the old ones, the OG ones,
Yeah, yeah.
but the new Mag Mass, the Mag gels. I mean,
If the OG
amazing.
ones work, you can might as well keep them around and keep using them, right?
Yep, I just need more of
Oh,
those. Yeah. So I know I had messaged you before. I said, "Do you have any of them kicking around anywhere?" And you're like, "No, we haven't found any." So
yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
yeah,
I,
yeah.
you know what? We'll have to talk after this. I probably have 4 or 5 lying around somewhere. I used to have a stack of them as well. In fact, I always had my favorite gels just already in the kind of the OG
Yep.
holders. And then
Yep.
I would keep them in my bag and then I would pull them out when I need them. Especially like I would always use some CTO gels for like sunset and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So,
Yep. And I have my favorites, like my quarter CTO and my CTB in
mhm.
here, and they always stay in there. And then whenever I need them, I just throw them on.
Yeah,
Just throw them on the flash, and they're ready to go. Yeah.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So Adrian, I
Yep.
know you
And that's
already
it.
showed it. Okay, I was gonna say I know you showed a lot of images already. I wasn't sure if you had any more. That's awesome. Well, let me pull you back up here so we can talk for just a second. Um, I am totally, like I said, inspired by the fact that we talk so much about the mag beam. I had no idea that we were gonna cover it so much, and I just love the fact that you're using it. I love the fact that we're having this conversation because it, like I said, every time I do these types of things, it goes in my mind. I think, oh man, this weekend I need to start, using that more, or pull it
Mm-hmm.
out. And the fun thing is there's so many different types of modifiers. You can really get, well, let me just say, you can't get bored. You can always get creative and try new things.
Yeah. And you just have to throw a modifier on and play with it,
Yeah,
and throw some colors on and play with it. And it's
yeah.
fun.
That probably goes along with this question here that I'm going to ask you just to kind of wrap things up. What would you say is maybe one tip for somebody who's wanting to learn Flash? What would you say is something that, where they can learn or how they can learn?
MagMod. Definitely MagMod. If you have any of the modifiers, even if you don't,
Hmm.
there's so many tips from the photographers like Sean, Arnaud, Pi, Marley's, you, Neil, and Helen. Like everybody, you all share so much information. Even if you don't have the modifiers, you can learn a lot from there.
You,
And
you,
then you get the modifiers.
Well, no, that's awesome though. I love that. Would you recommend the YouTube channel or the community, or where do you find that you get the most kind of bang for your
I
time?
usually get the most from the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Is usually where I go. A lot of the in the group on the Facebook group, we a lot of people will show a lot of their behind the scenes and actually put like camera settings and stuff. Camera settings don't always apply to every situation,
sure.
so yeah, but you get a lot more detail in the Facebook group.
That's cool. I love that. I just think, some people when they might be watching this and thinking like, man, I want to be able to learn Flash, and it's interesting because after doing it for so many years, oftentimes we forget some of the basic things to just, pick.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I agree with you. A lot of those videos, when they talk about those things, it's like, oh, all of a sudden that light clicks. Oh, now I
It
get it. Now,
does.
you know,
It does. And then you pause the video and you go and try it and you're like, oh man, that
yeah,
works. Why
yeah,
didn't I think of that? Right? Yeah.
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 Totally, totally. It's like riding a bike or snow skiing or any of those things where it feels difficult at first, and then all of a sudden, just boom, it just hits, and you go,
It
oh,
just clicks. And all you have to do is just do it. Just try it. Just do it. Just play around. You're going to have many, many, many flops. But then that one time that you actually, is the time when you get so frustrated and you try it one more time and you're like, oh, there it is.
yeah,
There it is. Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Adrian. You were amazing. I learned a ton, and you totally inspired me to go out and try some new modifiers like the MagBeam that I haven't done in a while. So I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Trevor. This was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey guys, be sure to tune in if you haven't subscribed already to the YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe to MagMod, and we'll be doing a lot more of these how I shot it and bringing on extremely talented photographers like Adrian to come and talk a little bit more about their images and how they shot them. So, thanks everyone. Thanks Adrian. You're awesome. Appreciate you
See
guys.
ya.
Bye.
Bye.